I just had Wingstop for the first time, and I can definitely say it was a much better experience than what I went through watching episode 9 of The Amazing Digital Circus. I have notes. Literally, I wrote some things down. You know, let's be optimistic. Let's start with the positives. What are some good things about this episode? The animation is really good. It's always been good. It's the Amazing Digital. It's of course it was good. Why wouldn't it be good? The voice acting was good as always, except for Gangle, because she's just anime, and that got old in episode 1. So, granted, there were only 3 songs in this episode. They were well composed. What were the 3 songs? We had the intro song, which I believe was sung by Pomni, and then we had a synthwave section towards the end, and then we had the main theme in like 6 different renditions, so it felt a bit rushed to me, and I'm almost hoping it was, because there were some things that happened that were not okay, and if those things were well thought out and planned from the beginning, then yikes. I'm not sure what happened, but Kinger's eye went missing, and I assumed that was a direct result of them deleting their world. Then every once in a while the camera would cut away and it would cut back, and he'd be in the exact same position at the same angle, and his eye would be there again. It was almost like the bucket on his head would just like it would just suck up his eye every once in a while, and I like to imagine every time the camera cuts away, Kinger is just trying to discreetly like pull his eyeball back into place without Pomni noticing. That happens. Not a lot. Let's see. I want to say the first 15 minutes was a lot of doom and gloom. And by doom and gloom, I mean it was dark and gray. And they cried. And then they hugged. And then it was dark and gray. And then they cried. And then they hugged. And then it was dark and gray. And then they hugged. And then they cried. I think the only reason they stretched it to 58 minutes is because they wanted a theatrical release, when in reality there was maybe, if I'm being generous, there was maybe 30 minutes of actual things that happened. Why is there doom and gloom? Well, I'm so glad you've asked. And if you have the answer, I'd love to hear it. Because this episode illuminates a glaring issue in which they seem to be incapable of committing to anything. Episode 8 gave us what we could have had for the past, 3-4 years now, maybe longer. We had an actual villain. We had conflict. We had Jax actually trying to be helpful for once. And then episode 9 happens. And yeah, you want to figure out what happens? You'll never guess. They make like Shadow the Hedgehog and they find the computer room. And guess what's in the files? You're not gonna like it. Let me go ahead and reenact this scene for you. Hang on, I'll figure out in post which character I am. I found the files. Nani? What was in them? There were brain scans. Does that mean? Oh no. Can it be? And then Jax is over there and he goes, I knew the whole time. You guys must be pregnant because you're late. What is wrong with me? They're not real. They've never been real. You remember in the last episode, it was revealed that Caine is an AI? Well, apparently he's not. Caine, from what I can ascertain, is also a brain scan. And they're like, oh shoot, I guess we're all sad now. And Jax is like, I'm not, you guys suck, peace out. And they're like, okay, let's not check up on him because we hate that guy. Hey everybody, we hate him? Cool. All right. Let's all take a second to remember that Gooseworks has gone on record to remind everybody that this is not a kid's show because it delves into some very heavy topics, such as suicide. Now, is suicide ever explicitly mentioned? Well, no. Instead, they call it abstraction. Folks, let's not kid ourselves. We all know what abstraction is a metaphor for. Going back on all the episodes, there's a very clear criteria for abstraction, and I wrote it down so we can all be on the same page here, okay? Abstraction is a self-destructive, permanent, irreversible state of psychological and bodily loss. So let's all be clear. Abstraction is also a form of suicide because it must be self-imposed. This is important because, spoiler alert, the bunny dies. Yeah, Jax kills himself. There's no build-up. There's no anything. I mean, he throws in another one of his stupid quips and then, like, walks away like a super cool guy. And then the camera just randomly cuts to a shot of his abstracted self roaming around. So Pomni finds his remains, and then everybody comes over, except Kinger. He doesn't give a shit. Kinger Kinger is over there hacking the mainframe, and everybody else comes over to kind of stare at Jax's decomposing corpse. And then their game plan to save each other from abstracting is to walk away and be alone for a while, because yeah, I've never heard a suicidal person say that before. So Pyramid Head punches a wall, and it was a really like pithy hit, so that made me laugh, and I don't think it was meant to, because it was kind of a serious moment. For some inexplicable reason, Pomni and Ragatha decide now's the time to have a kind of romantic moment. Again, Jax's rotting cadaver is like 10 feet away, and they decide to hug, and there's this romantic, soft pink light. I'm sorry, it's weird to be all lovey-dovey after your friend has just offed themselves. Now, if you've been wondering this whole time, will they, won't they? We don't know, because they won't commit to the bit. They kind of just hug, there's romantic light, there's some dramatic close-ups, and then they walk away. You know, that's how it's done. At minute 11:54 seconds, Pomni and Ragatha begin to walk away from each other. This continues until 12:19, giving us a total of 25 seconds. I don't think I've ever held eye contact with somebody for 25 straight seconds, let alone do so while staring at them over my shoulder and slowly vanishing into the dark. Like, it's weird. So Pomni goes to confront abstracted Jax to see if there's a way to revive him. And then it becomes the Pomni and Jax show. You guys remember in the other episodes where they really specifically pointed out that when they hold their breath, it makes Pomni's face change colors? Well, screw you! Jax strangles her and her face goes one color, which is blue. And then he lets go and he's like, stupid, you forgot we're computers, we can't die. Joke's on you! In another one, Jax shows up to a funeral in a French maid outfit, and he solicits her to meet him in his room later that day and hands her the key. Then Gangle does that anime-ism. Hang on, my note, all I wrote was rah 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 stance. She does that kind of, you know? And then she quickly goes into that stiff pose with indignation as she tells everyone to forget what they saw. Yeah, okay. Oh, and this leads to the only other part that made me laugh, when Pomni confronts all of his mini-me's at once. And she tells him, Jax, enough of this, come back to reality. And he says, reality's gay. It was almost like they wanted Pomni to be the Zuko of the group, you know, where everyone has an emotional travail that they overcome after hanging out with Zuko for like 48 hours. Except Zuko was interesting and had his own character arc, whereas Pomni is just a raging, closeted narcissist. Let me give you a direct quote, and again I'm going to remind you. She is speaking to, I guess, the soul of her dead friend after he takes his own life. She goes to her suicidal friend and she tells him verbatim,
I know you need it. And I'm the only person who can help you. You need me. I can fix you.
What the fuck is wrong with you? I was so shocked when I heard this come out of her mouth, because this show, from the start, was lauded as being a means of escapism that teenagers and adults can watch and feel connected to, because these characters are dealing with anxiety and stress and this feeling of being trapped in the existence you're given. And then you give them that? That's the message? That's the moral of the story? All you needed to say was, you need me. To all people out there who are currently or have ever dealt with suicidal ideation or depression or any form of mental illness, let me apologize on behalf of Glitch Productions, because you are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. You need treatment. You need help. You need a support system. And you're not going to get a support system if you have a friend who tells you they're the only ones you need and you should only go to them because they are the only ones who can fix you. Oh, what a benevolent, shining knight savior come down from the heavens above. We should all bow at the feet of Pomni for showing us such celestial grace. What is wrong with you? Like, I'm legitimately pissed off. I had to pause the video when this happened because I was so angry, because I had people tell me shit like that when I was a teenager, when I was dealing with depression and a bunch of other things. I had people tell me that I was broken. Those Those were the people who made me feel like I was broken, so I would rely on them, so they could feel like they achieved something that day. Pomni just told Jax, I get that you're on the verge of suicide, I mean abstraction, but it's okay. I'm the only one you need, so you should definitely isolate yourself from everybody else because they're totally useless. They're not as good as me at handling this kind of situation, and you should thank me. I mean, if you feel like it, of course, but I don't see why you wouldn't. I am your personal savior after all. I cannot believe how egregiously vile that is, and I cannot believe Gooseworks tries to make us believe it worked. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. A few minutes later, she's going to help Jax overcome his internal struggle. I mean, he's dead, but it feels like it helps her, and that's what matters. She's going to confront him in this void, and Jax realizes that Pomni was right. He did need her. Forget everyone else that has just gone out of their way to help him, especially not Ragatha. Are you kidding me? And we'll get into that. Anyway, we have another Mexican standoff, which is right here at 31:51 when Pomni begins to walk towards Jax, and she does not make it to Jax until 33:24, which is 1 minute and 33 seconds. Doesn't seem like that long, but it's 90 seconds of Pomni slowly making her way over. I'm gonna act out this scene for you just 1 sec. I don't know why you're here. Just go away.
I'll never leave you alone. You're my friend.
But you should leave me alone. I really don't deserve your benevolence, almighty savior.
Don't do it.
I just don't understand why you won't go away.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm getting closer.
I break everything I touch.
That may be true, but it makes me feel better to think that I helped.
Oh, I'm out of breath. It's just a minute and a half of that, and then Pomni gets to him, and it becomes pretty evident that the character design was not in favor of the script. She does that anime thing where she hugs Jax from behind, and he can't look at her, so he does that anime thing where he just sniffles up at the sky. Except she's a little too short, so when she goes up to hug him from behind, all she gets is behind, and by that I mean she mashes her face into his buttocks. When she wraps her arms around his legs, her arms are a little too high. I was like, oh, don't get too close, don't get too close, your hands are a little too close to his crotch there. Don't do it. Let's talk about the frog in the room, shall we? Turns out Jax used to be a good person. Shocker, I know. And he was really good pals with Kermit and Kaufmo. I was just saying Kaufmo. They're all buddy-buddy and they're hanging out, and it's very... One fated day, Jax and Kermit are hanging out in her room, and she opens up to Jax about her biggest regret in life. She says that as soon as she was old enough, she moved out and cut off hair for no other reason than the fact that they were devout members of the LDS Church. And it was such a fresh breath of air. How often do we get the chance to talk about the LDS Church in media without it being BYU TV or National Heretics Online? I don't really talk about it too much, but I myself am a member of the church and have been for roughly 30 years. Ribbit's story really resonated with me because I've had family members and friends and other loved ones who have felt the exact same way. I would have loved to explore that. She tells Jax that she regrets cutting off her parents because she acknowledges they did nothing wrong. They just practiced their religion in peace, and she chose to walk away. There are no bad parties here. She tells Jax that had it not been for the digital circus, she would have wanted to at least see them again, and that's heartbreaking. But that's all we get from Ribbit in response to this. Jax's biggest regret is that he committed murder. Yeah, so Jax had a wacky relationship with his parents. His dad went out to get the milk and his mom blamed him for it, and you're a bad kid because you remind me of your dad, and you're also the love of my life because you remind me of your dad. And it's definitely very difficult for a child to grow up that way. You can't really grow up that way, right? That sets you back in so many ways. And one of the ways that set him back, he wasn't able to really show or receive any affection from his own own mother. Then one day, his mother realizes that she's been really bad to him. In an act of grace and kindness, she embraces him. And Jax is understandably really startled by this sudden physical contact that he's not used to, so he instinctively pushes her away. His mother hits the floor and doesn't get up. That's not his fault. So, what does Jax do after this? Here, sports fans, I'll let you guess. Does Jax A. check to see if his mother is still breathing, B. pick up the phone and call for an ambulance, C. none of the above, or D. he does a little jig? I'll give you a hint, it's C. He does none of the above, and Jax confesses that it's very likely his mother was alive and just paralyzed, or I don't know, having a stroke, because she might have hit her head or her spine or something. Doesn't matter though, because he ditches her. If she hit the floor and died, that's murder. If she hit the floor and was injured, but she was unable to call for help herself, and he abandoned her knowing that, it's still murder. And you know what Ribbit says? Oh, I'm sure she was fine. If she was dead, the cops would have gone after you, and they didn't, so you're in the clear. There is a thing we have, which is referred to as an isolated or unattended death, in which the party that dies does not have any witnesses or people who are able to report the death when it happens in a person's home or isolated area. Annually in Japan, 22,000 deaths are unattended and are not discovered for at least 15 days, upwards of over a month. In the United States, it's a bit different. Annually, there's about 7,000 to 12,000 unattended deaths. That, again, 2 weeks to over a month. Just because the police weren't after you doesn't mean you didn't kill somebody. We don't know how long Jax was homeless for. It is completely likely that Jax was homeless for the same amount of time it would have taken for someone to discover that his mother was dead. We don't know if she was employed. We don't know if she had a boss that would have called in and said, hey, I haven't seen you in a few days. We're gonna send someone to do a welfare check. We don't know if she had a boss that said, hey, Bridget, you haven't been to work in 3 days without notice, so I'm not giving you notice either. Screw you, you're fired, don't come back in. Have a lovely day. Aren't we glad we focused on Jax this episode? I sure am. Oh yeah, he's trans, by the way, so forgive him. Yeah, Kermit tells him, oh, your mom's probably fine, and she'll forgive you anyway. And then she sticks a bow in his ear, and then he gets embarrassed, and then he says that if she tells anybody what he just said, then he will personally see to her lynching. And she's like, cool, alright. Are you ready for this? You ready? At minute 26:34 through 29:48, which is an astounding 3 minutes and 14 seconds, we get to watch Jax bully and abuse his friend until she kills herself. We having fun yet? We just sit there and watch Jax bully her for 3 minutes and gaslighting her. And by the way, I'm using gaslighting in the actual sense, not the modern day sense. Gaslighting doesn't mean you're lying to somebody. Gaslighting has to be done over an extended period of time, not a couple days, not a couple weeks, an extended period of time where your end goal is to convince somebody their sense of reality is faulty. That's what gaslighting is. And we get to watch that for 3 minutes. I'm not going to really linger on this too much because it was a hard watch. Yeah, so Ribbit dies. You know what happens to their other friend Kaufmo? Kaufmo abstracts, and it's implied that Kaufmo kills himself also because of Jax. So Jax wasn't the most beloved character, and now it's possible he was responsible for the deaths of 3 innocent people. The best character of the entire show makes an appearance, or rather a cameo is what it felt like. Caine shows up about 40 minutes in. So you guys remember in episode 8, Caine was like, I'm an AI, I'm bad to the bone, and you all suck, and then he tortures all of them sequentially, and then he's resurrected. I guess he never made it to the recycling bin, I don't know. And he's like, am I good, am I bad, am I ambivalent towards good and evil? Oh, I'm so angst. Then he decides he's good. Why? Would you like to hear the main motivation as to Caine's change of heart? Caine decides to be a good guy because open to interpretation. I don't know, like, because he felt like it, I guess. Then we get our final Mexican standoff of the show at minute 39:22 through 42:28, which is 3 minutes and 6 seconds, or 5.33% of the runtime that we dedicate to Caine very slowly approaching a door. We've had 3 Mexican standoffs, which totals to a whopping 5 minutes and 4 seconds, or 8.72% of the entire runtime. Now that number might not seem that big to you, but in Batman the Dark Knight, 8.72%, or 13 minutes, comprises the entire opening bank heist. So I need you to picture the first 13 minutes of the Dark Knight, but instead of the bank heist happening, it's just the Joker getting to the bank. Toy Story 1, 8.72%, or 7 minutes, would include Andy playing with his toys in his fantasy world, the staff meeting between all of the toys, and the arrival of Buzz Lightyear. So instead of all of that, just imagine Andy very slowly getting to the toy box. If you're gonna have this, and granted it is animated very well and there's some really cool dynamic shots, if you're gonna do it that way, why not just scatter the shots throughout the show and have the big crescendo at the end where he gets to the door? Oh, by the way, what's behind door number 1 and only number 1? Wi-Fi. He connects to the internet, he goes to Twitter, and he looks at everyone's social media and he's like, oh, this must be a completely accurate lens into these people's lives. I should definitely show it to them. And he does. He gives them a little Microsoft a PowerPoint presentation, and he says, I know I was really mean to you guys, but you should forgive me, because look at your Instagram, look how cute you are. Yeah, so they watch the presentation, and they're like, oh, the internet is real. We should all be pals. Okay. Look, all I'm saying is if the internet's real, I must be a cartoon. And then, would you believe me if I told you it gets worse? Because it ends with everyone having a group catatonic session. Yeah, so the lesson of the story is if you're not able to escape your dark thoughts, embrace them. If you're feeling detached from yourself, lean into it. You should dissociate for as long as you can, and you should make arts and crafts along the way. Yeah, right. Thank you. I love it. Ooh, and they build a pillow fort, and they shove Jax's suicide corpse into it, just to sit there and rot forever. So during this entire ending montage of everyone being a little bit delusional, I just want to remind you that in the middle of all that is Jax's body in the process of putrefaction over all the days and months and years that will surely go by, and then it just credits roll, it ends. Ooh, yeah, there's that one scene where they all get on a bus together because they were friends in real life in the kindest way possible. The ending we got was trite, meaningless, harmful, vapid, rotting garbage. And you want to know the best part? You deserve it. Oh, I'm sorry. You thought I was on your side? Hang on, I'm getting a call. Hello, Pixar, what's that? You want your twist villain back? What did you think was gonna happen? Look at the people Gooseworks had the displeasure of entertaining. Maybe not you personally, but it's fans like you that harassed, bullied, and threatened the creator of her own show to the point that she had to delete her Reddit account. You're the people who pilfer episodes and leak them on the internet a couple weeks before their theatrical release. You take their character models, run it through Blender, and you make smut. You put in a few prompts, add a couple of PNGs into AI so it can run your slop farm online. You don't have any respect for the creators who are responsible for your entertainment, so why in the hell do you expect them to have any modicum of respect for you? Your mind is where dreams go to die. I'm an artist online, I get it. People make demands and they pester and they get upset even when they get what they asked for. Gooseworks has gone on record to say that she's exhausted. She doesn't want to ever think about or animate or touch the amazing digital circus ever again, and it could have been her magnum opus. That's the really insidious part here, is that there was so much potential, there was so much talent behind everything, We almost had such a good thing, and you ruined it. On what planet do you think you get anything else? I have yet to be convinced that this fan base deserves a good ending. I have yet to be convinced they deserved one at all. If I was Gooseworks, I probably would have flipped the bird, tossed my computer out the window, and called it a day. Far as I can tell, we haven't earned anything other than what we've got. And quite frankly, we've been pampered because we didn't deserve any of the good parts. I hope Gooseworks takes some time to rest and recover from everything that you've put her through. I hope she continues creating because she's clearly got the heart for it, and it'd be such a shame for us to lose that. We're already losing. You guys wanted AI slop? Well, now you've got it. Now you have the oops, all AI ending. Of course, as it stands, I'm still not a fan of the show, but even I won't deny that we almost had something incredible. Perhaps even amazing. 10 out of 10, don't recommend. Have a nice day. Take care of yourself. If you're not able to take care of yourself and you need help, there are resources. There are licensed professionals who will voluntarily help you. To his house with a blue little window and a blue Corvette, and everything is blue for him and himself and everybody around, cause he ain't got nobody to listen. But I'll listen because I love you and I care about you. I'm blue, da ba dee da ba die.